What's going on, peoples? I'm just gonna make this video. It's gonna be really freaking long. Um, it's about me. It's about my life. It's about everything I've gone through, everything I've experienced. I was born in El Paso. I was born at Fort Bliss Military Base in August of 1988. I am a Virgo, so I was born at the end of the month. Um, I don't trust giving out specific dates and times right now. Because I have a lot of strange beliefs about time travel and time cops or terminators or whatever that is. Um, I've developed mental illnesses about that stuff, so I'm just not gonna give specifics when it comes to that stuff. But I was born in Texas, born in a military base, Fort Bliss. My father was in the Army, and my mother was just a housewife. She didn't work, and the Army doesn't really pay people that well to live, so we were without a lot. We really were. I mean, my father was raising 3 children on an Army budget, and the Army was actually getting mad at my dad, telling him not to have children anymore because, we need to live within our means. And some of the people on the base who are superiors of my father knew that you can't really raise a family of 3 in the Army. So, needless to say, my father somehow got discharged honorably. I don't know how, but he did. And he evaded the depleted uranium in the Gulf War, which was great. He got to raise his family. He started a business. He worked for something called Metrobus for a while. He worked there. Um, didn't really have that great of growing up. We were living in apartments, living in basements. We used to get really sick all the time living in a basement at my grandma's house. Uh, it was just not a really. It just wasn't a good place to live and raise a family. It's a basement. The fuck? Who raises families in a basement? I mean, I know, maybe in the past when we were living in caves and stuff, I get it, whatever. But yeah, it wasn't easy growing up. And then I remember when my dad finally had his big break, he started his business and things started getting a little better. It was like in the 90s, 1992, I believe he started it. And we were all union, and things just went to shit with that company. And we did a job, and someone didn't pay us. They owed us like I think it was like $100,000 or so. We did work for a commercial business. I mean, this was in the late 90s, and they didn't pay us. And we had 17 guys working for us, and we couldn't pay them. My parents somehow kept the business. They kept it. Somehow. I don't know. But they got through that. We actually had to get rid of a lot of employees. We downsized, and then we switched our business practices to more residential because my family, they're electricians, and my dad is. That's the business. And we shifted gears more towards like a residential based business where we're doing house calls, and that seemed to be better for us because my father's very good with people and interaction, and he's very good at electrical work. He's a master electrician. He's been doing it since 1992, so you can imagine. And he's self-taught, teaches safety classes, but I digress. Sorry. I don't know. My father's skills are pretty intense. When his working with his hands, I've always admired that ability. Just because I don't really possess that as much as he does. I'm more into the unforeseen worlds, but I don't know. I'm kind of handy. I can work with tools and I can do things, but I don't know. Maybe I just wasn't taught. I don't know. Maybe I'm selling myself short. But anyways, so yeah, so the business was getting it going, and so I mean, fast forward, we were living from house to house. We moved so many times, and we eventually found solid ground. I believe it was, I think it was like early 2000s, or maybe it was 1998 or 1999. My parents finally bought a home, and it was subsidized housing, of course, but it wasn't. I think it was like buy to own. I forget what it was, like rent to own. And we ended up buying. We owned the house, and it was my parents' first home. They were very proud of it. and I know it was a little bit government housing and all that, but we own it. It's something. It was a program for new homeowner people who were low income to purchase houses, and some were duplexes, some were full homes, and like I said, my parents were homeowners. They're very proud. They're very excited to have a place that they call their own. Because I remember when we were living in another house, this one lady wouldn't let us have our swing set, and like they're children. Why would you stop children from playing just because? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how that is, but so we moved out of that house. That was in a place called West Seneca we were living in, and then we eventually went and moved to Hamburg, and that was it's where my family had been for almost 20 years of my growing up. And I went to school, Frontier, the Falcons. We were the Falcons. And at that school, the guidance counselors told my parents that anyone from Frontier doesn't go anywhere. So, which is sad because my parents they came to us and asked us if we wanted to go to a private school or a public school. And I don't know, at the time I heard that the private schools were for homos or something. And I was like, no, I want to be cool and go to a public school. What a mistake. But that's another thing. Why would you ask a child? Why would you ask a child, like, what they prefer? Like, they're going to know? They're going to be able to make a choice? I don't know. I mean, it's like spirit decisions, I don't know. And I'm just thinking too deep into things. That's what I do. I think I might be one of those too deep thinkers. But, once again... So I was in the Frontier School District. We had been bouncing around. I was in Hamburg, West Seneca, and now finally the Frontier School District, which was where I grew, and my mind was filled with whatever that place was giving me. Most of it was Macaskill textbooks, and that was an Israel-based company, so we were getting that knowledge. I sucked at school. I did really good in history. Was my favorite subject. I was in orchestra. I played the cello. That was fun. Still do to this day. I just had to get a cello again. I met someone a few weeks ago, and they actually had a cello in their house, believe it or not. So that was really interesting. And I grew up. I had some issues. I mean, I can go really deep. I can go really personal. I don't know how personal I should go, but I guess I just generally do an outline because I feel like people deserve to know that I'm just a normal fucking dude who had experience on this planet. I'm not initiated in anything. I'm not a part of fucking anything. I'm literally just a dude on the freaking internet like everyone else. Like, what are we doing? But anyways, more about me, right? About me. So I go through middle school. Middle school sucked, got picked on a lot, and for no fucking reason. My older brother, spread rumors about me. I was crap. So I got picked on, and I got bullied. And I was supposed to make me stronger, right? Well, it made me so strong that I joined a football team, and I wanted to kill everybody, and I did. I didn't kill anyone, but I was hurting a lot of people on the football team, and the coaches were getting mad at me. They're like, "You're just practice squad." I'm like, "I don't care." They would never start me. I was just a little bit bitter. I had some bitter resentment because the people I was around me always were putting me into a state of stress. They're stressing me out all the time. And I ended up finding some really decent people to hang around with, but they were considered the nerds and stuff, and no one really liked them. So I was associating with people that people didn't like. So that also made things a little bit more difficult. But then, there was a big change after, my sophomore year a lot of the nerds started joining football too, and they started working out and getting strong, and people stopped picking on them too. And we had like a nice little crew going on, and we joined track and field. We were throwing shot put and discus and shot put, or I'm sorry, and hammer. We were throw, or not hammer, the weight. We weren't allowed to throw the hammer in high school. So that's that. And in college, I went to it was called Erie Community College. I went there, and I threw hammer there. That was fun. There were some good experiences there. I remember going to Atlanta or something for a meet for it was a D3 meet, but all the community colleges would get invited to D3 stuff. So that was cool. That was fun. We got to like stay over at a hotel, and it was like a different experience because we got to travel around for sports, and it was cool. I always wanted to do that, so that was interesting. And oh yeah, I forgot to say also I'm a skier. I like to ski and snowboard. That was a big part of my growing up. I was the only one in my family too who did it, and I tried to get my brother to ski. He did it once. He's really good. It was fun watching him go down the hill, but yeah. So fast forward, I get out of high school. I graduate. I went to ECC, and after the first like 2 years of ECC, things started really going bad. I started smoking a lot of weed, and I started doing a lot of chew, and I was leaving like chew containers around, and it was just pissing off my mother, and she had threatened to like kick us out a bunch of times, and eventually she did. And then I was like the first one to get kicked out when I was like 18 or something, I believe, and it was a horrible time. I was so disrespectful to my family, and they were building a house over in like really nice areas. My dad finally was like progressing in life, and trying to do better for his family, I guess. But I don't always think he made the best choices for our family, even though he tried. I'll never hold it against somebody if they try. You know what I mean? Like, try. I mean, if your best is my worst, who cares? At least you tried. At least you did your best. You know what I mean? Like, don't ever put someone down who tries. When they don't get through, because making that choice to try is huge. Like, just getting up and trying is huge. It's like you sitting down and watching everyone dancing, and you're like, oh, I really want to get up and dance, blah, 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 but you don't, and then you feel like an idiot. But then you get up and dance, you feel really good. So don't ever, I would never. Anyways, some life coaching. I say because I'm thinking. Where was I? Oh yeah, the hard times. So I got kicked out of my house a few times. One was for smoking weed. I got caught smoking weed here. I work for my parents too in their business, and I got caught smoking. And then they kicked me out of the house, and I had to go live with my friend Bob, and he was taking care of me a lot. Like, he was letting me drive his vehicle. So it was very, very generous what he was offering me, and I was very thankful. And then I started smoking cigarettes there, and that was a really bad habit I developed. And then I switched to chew for a while, and things just weren't that great. My life was just spiraling, and I don't even remember. The timeline's kind of messed up, because I remember from like 2006 to 2000. I think it was 2009, 2012. I was a lifeguard, and that was fun. I learned a lot. I was living at home. Yeah, that was before. So from like 2006 when I graduated to 2010 or so, I was living at home. I was going to school. Yeah, this is the timeline. And then I eventually, once I stopped working at the beach, I think that's when I got in trouble for chewing, and then, or smoking weed, and I got kicked out of the house. And then I went on my own, and I was homeless for a little bit. And then my car got wrecked, because I bought a piece of shit car, and Well, the first car I had was really good, and I crashed it because I was texting and driving, going to pick up weed, I think. And then, yeah, and then I was struggling really hard after that. I bought a piece of shit car. And it's really bad. It's just horrible times. That's what I mean. I hate getting up here and telling people, oh, I suffered. Ugh. Everyone fucking suffers. Everyone goes through hard times. Everyone goes through a choice that they make, and then they have to live through the repercussions. And that's what I mean. We're not here to scapegoat something or someone. Oh, my life is this way because of that. Ugh. No, you made a fucking choice. You did this. And some people's choices affect other people more than others. Think about it. If you're the first person on the creek, you decide to take a giant shit in it, all that shit's flowing down creek. So who's the one at the front? Because all shit flows downhill. All I know is I want to keep the creek clean. I don't want to pollute it anymore. I guess people want a reset, but that's the thing. I don't think we're going to get a reset. We have to work with what we have. A giant fireball is not going to come and fix your problems. Okay? A giant wave isn't going to come and wash all your problems away. Some god is not going to come down here in a spaceship and fucking fix your world for you. Okay? That's all I'm trying to get at. Like, this is just how it is. And I didn't make it this way, but we have to live in it. Sorry about that. It's just my issue with having someone else in charge of my world around me, because that's the thing. People's choices affect each other. Whether I want to believe that or not, it's true. Like, if someone decides to release radiation or something in the air through their plant or whatever, and I breathe that in, that's affecting me. I didn't want that. I didn't ask for it. It just happened. That person caused me to breathe in radioactivity. You know, that's just the nature of our existence on this planet. We have to live together. And I'm so sick of people thinking that their air isn't my air, or their water isn't my water, because it fucking is. This whole private life is dumb. It's really dumb. And I don't want to be like private or public. I don't know. I just want things to be where they should be. I don't know why there's so much discordia. I don't fucking get it. I can't fucking wrap my head around it. I just like want to punch myself in the head when I think about it.